on the eve of the presidential debate, with just 36 days away from what I believe by far is the most consequential election in our lifetime, well, the time for urgency and all hands on deck is right now. As I have said many, many times, in elections, you need to take nothing for granted. If you haven't registered to vote, well, guess what? I have a special part on my website, Hannity.com, information. How do you register? When does early voting start in your state? Who is running for your congressional seat? Do you have a Senate race this year? When does early voting start, and when does it stop? And what about if you want to vote absentee this year? All the information you could want. You're going to want to go to the polls and exercise this incredible God-given right. A lot is literally hanging in the balance. If you care about our kids, our grandkids, the future of this country, you must do your part. Every major institutional force in this country, in the D.C. swamp, in the mob and the media, the 99.9% state-run newspapers, state-run broadcast, state-run cable, are completely invested in defeating President Trump, as they have been, well, from the second he came down the escalator with Melania Trump. The stakes for the future, for our children, grandchildren, have never been higher. In the end, we will get the government we deserve. Joe's stated policies are the most radical, out of the mainstream, of any major political party nominee in the history of this country. Radical socialism, higher and higher taxes and redistribution, eliminating fossil fuels, amnesty for illegal immigrants, free health care for illegal immigrants. We become the United Sanctuary States of America. And by the way, foreign policy appeasement. I guess the Iranians are hoping for Joe to win because they might get another $150 billion in other cash in other currencies and have to do nothing for it. This entire campaign, Joe Biden and his running mate have been hiding from we, the American people. Joe Biden almost never takes questions from the press. When he does, the reporters are pre-selected by members of his campaign. And today, he officially retired to his basement at a whopping 9:52 a.m., which marks the 11th time just in this month of September that the Biden campaign put a lid on any more events before noon. This is not normal. They are clearly trying to hide things from we, the people. Have you ever seen a presidential candidate repeatedly call it a day before 10 a.m., day in and day out, week in, week out for months? And now here we are just weeks away, 36 days till an important, pivotal presidential election. Meanwhile, his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, made a rare public appearance herself today. Naturally, she raced off stage before taking any questions from the press. Zero transparency from people running for the highest office in the land. And their friends in the media mob, all they do is cover it all up. They are the great enablers, the great supporters, the largest contributors to democratic radical socialism. Okay, thankfully tomorrow, well, we might actually get a chance to hear from Joe on several important issues that he has heretofore refused to address. For example, Joe, do you support packing the U.S. Supreme Court as is being threatened by members of your party, leaders in your party? What judges would you appoint to the highest court in the land if there should be a vacancy if you were president? Remember, President Trump, well, he published a long list of prospective judges. Does Biden support getting rid of the Electoral College like other Democrats? Why did Joe Biden's running mate promote a fund that bailed violent criminals and rioters out of jail? Why did Kamala Harris also praise defunding the police in Los Angeles? Why, Joe, did you say police become the enemy? And by the way, why did you support reallocating, just a different way of saying defunding, funds away from the police? Why the silence, Joe, as this nation watched night after night after night, looting, arson, assault, vandalism, even hijacking and taking over or burning to the ground police precincts? You know, all that has happened that has rocked this country to the core all summer long. You didn't even mention it at your own convention. In the 8 years, Joe, when you were vice president, there were 4,000 homicides in Chicago alone. That's Barack's hometown, 20,000 shootings. You did nothing, and you barely mentioned it. Is Joe Biden going to support gun confiscation efforts that his gun czar, Beto Bozo O'Rourke, supports and so fond of? Hell yeah, we're coming for your AKs. Or Kamala Harris believes, well, she could do it by executive fiat. You support that, Joe? Will you continue to support your zero-experience son, Hunter, and his sketchy overseas business deals with the Communist Party of China. Now we learned last week shopping sprees courtesy of China. Russian oligarchs, Ukrainian oligarchs, wire transfers, all back and forth. Now it's all out there. Just take a look, Joe. Do you support that? Are you going to say that you didn't know anything? You didn't leverage $1 billion to get a prosecutor in Ukraine fired? And why? Your son admits on Good Morning America, zero experience in oil, gas, energy, or Ukraine. Why did they give him millions of dollars? I don't know. Maybe because you were the vice president, Joe. Will you forcibly place this country on another coronavirus lockdown? And where do you stand on mandatory masks? Because you flip and you flop and flop and flip and flail. The American people deserve answers to all of these questions. And here is what I believe. This is my opinion. This is an opinion part of the show. Has been happening behind the scenes this whole campaign, this whole summer. Well, I believe that his campaign team, they are seeing what we all see. They see that Joe Biden is weak. They see that he is frail. They see that he is struggling cognitively. His staff, they made a very conscious decision to hide him. The corrupt media mob in this country has allowed him and them to get away with all of this. So Joe Biden, he's probably spent pretty much hours every day all summer long with 4 or 5 points that he memorizes on every likely issue that's going to come up during a debate, and probably 1 or 2 scripted attack lines against Donald Trump. In between, of course, plenty of scheduled hot cocoa breaks and naps, of course. In other words, the Democrats, the Biden campaign, felt it was too risky to put him out on the campaign trail. So they put all their eggs in the debate basket. And we'll see for the first time tomorrow how well that strategy of studying all summer long has worked out. Tomorrow, I suspect that all those months' preparations, it will be somewhat effective. He survived the Democratic primary debates, but his staff, the Democrats, I can tell you for a fact, they are terrified about these 3 debates. We know that Joe will likely take on the same tone and cadence and pitch that he took out with his joint press conference on fake news CNN with Anderson Cooper. And by the way, he should be able to deliver his carefully worded script that they've been practicing all summer. But even his staff knows how fragile he is. Democrats are just terrified of letting their own candidates speak off the cuff, and frankly, they should be, and for plenty of good reason. Over the weekend, Joe couldn't even seem to get anything straight. Did you know that he was in the U.S. Senate? Well, for the first time 180 years ago. Just like, what, 200 million dead from COVID-19. Just like he forgot he opposed the travel ban. Just, you know, like we're endowed by the thing, you know, you know the thing. God, endowed by a creator. God, the creator of everything. Or mixing up Super Thursday. Or mixing up the states that he thinks he's in at any given moment. Or thinks that he's running for the U.S. Senate. Here's a quick reminder.
I've made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago, you know, as well as my tenure as vice president. You know, if I have the honor of becoming your president, I make this commitment to you. You're going to have an access directly to the White House, and I'm going to be right there with you.
180 years ago, Joe, really? Actually, that was probably the closest he got to an honest statement all weekend, frankly, all campaign. Joe's struggles didn't end there. During a very friendly interview on MSDNC, the Conspiracy Network channel, well, just watch as the host has to painfully step in and, well, lift him out of trouble and help Joe remember his own talking points. This is how corrupt the mob is. Take a look.
For example, the Paycheck Protection Act. You know, 1% of the money's gone out. 1%. 1% of the that's not the paycheck. The bill for small businesses. Mainstream lending. 1%'s gone out, and the Paycheck Protection Pack went out. And you know, I think it should be focused on businesses under 50 employees.
Nobody's here to help me. By the way, is that the guy you want representing us on the world stage, this country? You think President Xi, Putin, think they're going to eat this guy alive? What do you think the mullahs in Iran will be thinking about him if he's president? Wow, you really think he's capable of leading the free world? I don't. Tomorrow is theater for Joe. In other words, Joe will be regurgitating his memorized attack lines, his 4 to 5 points per topic, and he'll reiterate them 5 different ways to get through the 2-minute answer or the 90-second answer. But by the way, he's had an entire summer to practice. Who knows who's going to show up tomorrow? I don't even think he knows. And according to Joe, you have to vote for him because, well, of Nazi Germany and Fidel Castro. Listen to this vicious attack.
Well, I'm not sure anybody that hadn't already made up their mind there for Trump believes, but who knows? But that's, you know, he's sort of like Goebbels. You say the lie long enough, keep repeating it, it becomes common knowledge, they think. You know, I think people see very clearly the difference between me and Donald Trump. Trump is Trump is clearing protests in front of the White House that are peaceful, you know, with the military. And this guy's more Castro than Churchill.
Okay, really? Joe Biden comparing President Trump to 2 of the world's most evil monsters. Joe Biden just informed his wife, the media mob, that no one is allowed to attack Joe for his gaffes. I guess I missed the memo because we're just calling it like we see it and showing you the truth so you can decide. Take a look.
Your husband has been known to make the occasional gaffe.
Oh, you can't even go there. You can, after Donald Trump, you cannot even say the word
I can't even say the word gaffe?
Nope.
But you not
Nope. Done. It's gone.
The gaffe issue is over because...
Over. So over.
So over. I've been in the Senate 180 years. It's over. Don't talk about it. Of course, well, fake Jake Tapper was more than happy to comply with a delightful little laugh and a smile. Hard-hitting journalism at fake news CNN. Now, real journalists might be seemingly more concerned with Joe's worsening so-called gaffes, his trouble with numbers, bouts of anger, his inability to remember days of the week, the state that he's in, the office that he's running for, and his extremely light campaign schedule and total, complete blackout of the media. They won't answer hardly any questions. More troubles. By the way, troubling is still Joe's trouble with the truth. In the past, Joe has lied about his grades in school. He lied about having 3 degrees from college, lied about getting a full ride to law school, lied about where he came in his class in terms of graduating. He lied about getting arrested in apartheid South Africa while on his way to visit Nelson Mandela, lied about marching in the civil rights movement in the 1960s, but he did praise the former Klansman that filibustered the Civil Rights Act and was against the Voting Rights Act. That he did, and he did partner with that former Klansman. Why? Because he didn't want integration of our public schools, because he didn't want his kids going to schools that were racial jungles, his words. He recently lied about attending a historically black university, Delaware State, another whopper. Take a look.
HBCUs. I got started out of an HBCU, Delaware State. Now, I don't want to hear anything negative about Delaware State here, okay? They're my folks.
Problem is, Delaware State University denied that Joe was ever a student at the historically black university. In reality, instead of attending that school, Joe got his start, well, in the U.S. Senate, working with the segregationists to stop integration of schools and busing. According to Joe, didn't want the kids, as I said, growing up in that racial jungle. Joe Biden has been in the swamp for nearly 50 years where, guess what? Lying is just a way of life. Oh, did I forget his plagiarism, Neil Kinnock? Did I forget his plagiarism of Bobby Kennedy? He'll do and say anything for a vote. And really, when you think about it, he hasn't accomplished hardly anything, nothing that I can think of that has benefited the American people in 47 years. As Donald Trump likes to say, all talk. Tomorrow you'll hear all talk, all promises, new promises. How did the Obamacare promises work out? And worst of all, he's now controlled by the radical base of his party, and they're bragging about controlling him, like AOC. If elected, he will carry out their bidding. If successful, his agenda will rip this country apart. It'll destroy and negate the very freedoms that we have enjoyed for our entire history. In 36 years, you get to determine, well, guess what? The government will ultimately deserve.